The night air was still, heavy with silence, broken only by the crunch of boots over gravel. Officer Mark tightened his grip on the leash, his K9 partner, Rex, walking steadily by his side. The pair had been on countless patrols together, but something about this evening felt different, an unease lingering in the shadows. As they passed the edge of an old junkyard, Rex suddenly froze. His ears pricked forward, his body tense. Mark frowned. "What is it, boy?" he whispered, scanning the dimly lit yard. Rex didn't move. His eyes were locked on a single object, a rusty, weather-beaten freezer sitting crooked in the weeds. The dog let out a low growl, then sat, refusing to budge. Mark tugged gently at the leash, confused. But Rex's gaze never left the freezer. It was as if the dog knew something was inside. Mark's breath fogged in the cool air as he followed Rex's fixed stare. The junkyard was a graveyard of forgotten things. Battered lawn chairs, broken bicycles, piles of rusted metal. Yet Rex seemed blind to it all. His attention remained glued to that single freezer, its white paint eaten away by years of decay. The officer's brow furrowed. "It's just junk, Rex. Come on," he muttered, giving the leash a light tug, but the K9 refused. Instead, Rex crept closer, nose twitching, muscles tight. A sharp whine escaped his throat, followed by an anxious bark that echoed off the metal heaps. Mark sighed, glancing around. A few locals had gathered at the fence, curious about the commotion. One man shook his head. "That thing's been sittin' there for years, probably full of rats." Another whispered, "Or worse." The murmurs made Mark's skin prickle. He crouched, trying to calm Rex, but the dog's behavior only grew more intense. His claws scraped against the dirt, kicking up small clouds of dust as he clawed at the ground near the freezer. "Easy, boy. Easy," Mark murmured, but his own heartbeat had quickened. Rex growled low in his chest, tail stiff, every line of his body screaming urgency. The night felt heavier now, as if the shadows themselves were leaning in to watch. Mark swallowed hard. Whatever held Rex's attention, it wasn't nothing. It was something, and it was waiting. Mark exhaled slowly, forcing a calmness he didn't quite feel. "Rex, it's nothing," he said, giving the leash a firmer tug. "Come on, boy. Let's move." But the dog wouldn't budge. His nails scraped the dirt, ears flattened, a sharp whine escaping his throat. Mark stood, rubbing a hand over his jaw. He scanned the junkyard carefully. Old tires, broken furniture, nothing unusual. His flashlight beam swept across the clutter, revealing only dust and rust. Still, Rex wouldn't quit. He barked once, short, sharp, then returned to scratching at the ground near the freezer's base. "Stubborn mutt," Mark muttered, though the edge in his voice betrayed his unease. Behind him, the locals shifted restlessly. "Told ya, it's nothing," one man scoffed. "Just a busted freezer." Another chuckled nervously. That dog spooked by his own shadow. Mark wanted to believe them, wanted to dismiss the gnawing feeling creeping up his spine. He gave the freezer a quick kick with his boot. The dull, hollow thud echoed in the cold night air. Nothing. Mark straightened, brushing his hands together. "See? Empty." But Rex didn't agree. The dog growled again, low, insistent, unrelenting, and Mark felt doubt twist in his gut. For a moment, the junkyard went utterly still. Even the wind seemed to pause, leaving only the sound of Rex's steady growl. Mark shifted uneasily, his flashlight beam trembling slightly in his grip. "All right, boy," he muttered. "I'll check again, but this better not be a wild goose chase." He crouched, pressing his ear against the freezer's rust-pitted surface. At first, there was nothing, only the cold bite of metal against his skin. Then a sound, faint, fragile, almost lost in the night, a muffled cry. Mark jerked back, eyes wide. "No way!" His heart thundered as he leaned in again, straining to listen. The sound returned, weak, desperate, but undeniable. Behind him, the locals hushed instantly. One woman gasped, clapping a hand to her mouth. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Another voice muttered, "Lord help us." Mark's mouth had gone dry. He glanced at Rex, whose ears stood tall, eyes burning with urgency. The dog pawed frantically at the freezer now, whining louder, demanding action. Mark rose, voice tight with shock. "There's someone or something inside." The crowd stirred, fear rippling through them. The cries came again, clearer this time. Tiny, weak, almost fading. Mark's pulse hammered. Every instinct screamed at him to act fast. Whatever was trapped in that freezer didn't have much time left. Mark's hands were already on the lid, fingers scraping against rust and grime. He pulled hard, muscles straining, but the freezer didn't budge. It was sealed tight, welded shut by years of corrosion. "Come on," he hissed through clenched teeth. "Open!" Rex barked furiously, circling the freezer, his paws pounding the ground in frustration. The cries from inside had weakened, fading into heartbreaking whimpers. Mark cursed under his breath. He grabbed a piece of rebar from a nearby scrap pile and jammed it under the lid. Metal groaned, but still resisted. "Somebody get me a hand here," he shouted. Two locals rushed forward, gripping the sides as Mark levered the bar. Rust flaked off, cutting their palms, but no one stopped. The air buzzed with urgency. Every second felt like forever. The freezer creaked just slightly, then slammed shut again. The muffled cries grew softer. "No, no, stay with me," Mark muttered, sweat beading on his forehead despite the night chill. He adjusted his grip, shoved with everything he had. The metal screamed in protest. Hinges snapped. And finally, with a violent crack, the freezer lid tore open. The lid screeched as it flew open, slamming against the freezer's rusted frame. For a heartbeat, silence swallowed the yard. Every eye strained to see what lay inside. Mark's flashlight beam cut through the darkness of the box. His breath caught. Curled in the corner, shivering and frail, were tiny shapes. Puppies. Their ribs showed through their skin, their eyes glassy but alive. One whimpered, barely lifting its head, while another pawed weakly at the air as if reaching for help. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Someone muttered, "Dear God." Another woman clutched her chest, tears filling her eyes. Mark dropped to his knees. "Easy. It's okay now," he whispered, reaching inside with trembling hands. The puppies shrank from his touch at first, but when Rex barked softly, low, reassuring, they stilled, almost as if they understood their rescuer was here. One by one, Mark lifted them out, cradling each fragile body against his chest. They were freezing cold, their breaths shallow, but they were alive. Rex leaned forward, sniffing each tiny bundle, whining gently. His tail gave a single wag, relief shining in his eyes. Mark swallowed hard, his voice rough. "You saved them, Rex. You really did." The junkyard was silent now, the weight of the discovery settling heavy on everyone's shoulders. This freezer hadn't been a coffin. It had been a prison, and against all odds, life had endured inside. Mark wrapped the shivering puppies in his jacket, holding them close to his chest. Their faint whimpers tugged at every heart present. He glanced down at Rex, whose steady gaze never wavered. "You knew," Mark whispered, voice breaking. "You wouldn't leave until I listened." The crowd stood in reverent silence, the weight of what almost happened sinking in. Some wiped at their eyes, others simply shook their heads in disbelief. One tiny pup stirred, pressing its nose weakly against Mark's hand. The fragile gesture nearly undid him. He blinked hard, refusing to let tears fall. Rex leaned in, nuzzling the pup gently, his breath warm against its fur. It was more than instinct. It was devotion, a silent promise that he would protect them no matter the cost. In that moment, man and dog shared the same thought. This night, they had saved lives. Mark glanced at Rex, pride swelling in his chest. "You're more than a partner," he whispered. "You're a hero." The puppies whimpered softly, safe at last. If not for Rex's determination, their cries might have been lost forever. If you were moved by this incredible story, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an amazing tale like this. Stay with us for more heartwarming and unbelievable stories.